Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Day will be commemorated around the world today, that's Wednesday. Now I'm joined in studio by Dorothea from the Saatchi Bateman Center for Women and Children, and we're going to speak about the very serious issue of fetal alcohol syndrome in South Africa. South Africa has the highest rate in the world, with 25,000 babies born annually with fetal alcohol syndrome. Dorothea, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into the South African statistics, won't you explain to us what is fetal alcohol syndrome?
To put it in a very simple way for everybody to understand, it is simply when the mother drinks alcohol during pregnancy. Everything that the mother takes into her body while she's pregnant goes directly into the bloodstream of the baby. So the same with alcohol. When she drinks alcohol, the baby automatically gets the alcohol in the baby system as well. And what it does, there is a whole list of defects that could actually happen when that child is born, and that is ultimately fetal alcohol syndrome.
Now, Dorothea, are we talking about half a glass of white wine once every 2 months, or are we talking about prolonged drinking during pregnancy?
What mothers need to understand is that while they are pregnant, they can't drink any amount of alcohol, because there's no way for a mother to predict if she's going to drink half a glass, if she's going to drink a tot, if that amount of alcohol would have an impact on the baby. So what the doctors are saying, what the medical field is saying, is not to touch any amount of alcohol during your pregnancy, because even the smallest amount of alcohol can, the end result can be that your baby will be born with fetal alcohol syndrome.
Now, you work at the Saatchi Bateman Center for Women and Children every day. Will you tell us about your experience or the instances of fetal alcohol syndrome that you see and help families through daily?
Yes, it is very unfortunate that after so many awareness has been done over years, we still experience where mothers, some of them, unfortunately, they are still not aware of the syndrome. They still don't know that if they drink during the pregnancy that the baby can be born with FAS. And then there's unfortunately also cases where you have mothers that simply don't care. They are aware of the danger, but the situation that they find them in, when we look at domestic violence, it's a situation where the mother are being controlled by the perpetrator. In many cases, it is where the substance use is form of the abuse, so that the woman has no say as to whether she can drink or not. She's being forced to drink. And when they arrive at the center, we find that they are so depressed that the health of the baby is not their first priority.
Dorothea, why is it then, I mentioned it in my introduction, we have the highest rate of fetal alcohol. Let me do that one again, sorry. Can we start that again, please, Inga? Okay. Dorothea, I mentioned earlier that South Africa has the highest rate of fetal alcohol syndrome, 25,000 babies born each year. Why is it? Why are we experiencing this in South Africa specifically?
I think when we look at South Africa, we also need to look at our history. And our history shows us that, especially in the rural areas and families working on farms, alcohol was a form of payment. So instead of getting money, they were paid with alcohol. And I think also today, when we do some research, we find that even the awareness that we do, it doesn't always reach those areas. So there's still a lot of families living on rural areas that are not aware of fetal alcohol syndrome. They do not know about the prevention. They do not know that they need to stop drinking when they fall pregnant.
And of course, once you're pregnant, you have no way of knowing if your child is affected by fetal alcohol syndrome. Will it only manifest once the child is born or perhaps starts developing?
Yes, of course. Unfortunately, only once the child is born, the mother would know whether the child is born with fetal alcohol syndrome. And at that stage, it's obviously too late.
Right.